Welcome to On Point. I'm Natalia Vivino. Today we're talking about the effect too much screen time and too much social media have on young people. A survey by the Royal Society for Public Health says of the top 5 social media apps, Instagram ranks as the worst. It's associated with high levels of anxiety, depression, bullying, and fear of missing out. Last year, Forbes called the app the top social platform for engagement. Here's what some CSUN students said about their experiences with social media.
Social media is interesting. I have a omnipresence type experience when it comes to social media. And what I mean by that is that I feel that everyone needs to have a presence on social media, but at the same time, there is a slight challenge when it comes to that, because when people spend a lot of time, including myself, on social media, are we spending it time to benefit our future, our careers or anything, or are we spending time just to waste time? And so I can see where if I'm spending time just to waste time, that's a really bad experience for me. It's just, we need to manage and control our time. But when it comes to using it for promotion, marketing, and just being a part of the social media community, then I see that as a really, really good experience.
Honestly, I think this is such an interesting question that you're asking me at this time, because this week we have midterms, and I was just literally studying for school, and I noticed I kept going on Instagram all the time, and I was like, let me just delete it before after my midterm. But the night of, even before I have my midterm, I was still going back to my Instagram, thinking maybe someone would text me, message me there. But honestly, I think it really distracts me from school a lot, especially during this time. It's I always want to see what's going on there. What am I missing out on? But it does affect me with school, because then I'm not focusing while I'm studying. I'm constantly thinking what's going on online, so that's one of the negative impacts that.
Positive experience with social media. I happen to have a lot of followers, so with my followers I try to promote a nice environment for people in the social media, because bullying is a big bad thing about social media that I've noticed, and I try to promote people to not do that kind of things to other people. Thank you.
I would say yes and no. Sometimes I would just maybe look at, because on the Explore page, and I see those girls and they're wearing beautiful clothes, and I'm like, dang, I wish I had that. But it's never to bring me down. It's just I just think about it sometimes.
The American Journal of Preventive Medicine says people who spend over 2 hours on social media per day are more likely to report psychological distress. It's suggested that users limit their screen time to reduce these negative effects. There's also the concern that these effects are spreading to young children. On Point's Tamara Magaña has more on the story.
Thank you, Natalia. I'd like to welcome my guests. We have CSUN Educational and Psychology and Counseling Professor Joannie Busillo-Aguayo. We have rapper with over 33,000 Instagram followers, J.R. Jones. And we have photographer with over 29,000 followers on Instagram, Nathan Zielke. Thank you for being here.
Thank you guys for being here.
Now, why do you think so many people use social media aside from connecting with people? What do people get from it?
Man, social media, right now, people are looking at my page while I'm over here. There's people from all over the world looking at my page. I don't have to work as hard. All I have to do is just put a nice presentation, and anybody from anywhere in the world at any time can reach my page and see what I do.
Yeah, I think it's it's a way for people that aren't as outgoing to have a voice. There's a lot of people that hide behind the mask of social media. You won't see their picture, you won't see anything about them, any details, but they're there and they exist, and they get to express themselves and say how they really feel on social media and stuff like that and connect.
I also see a lot of individuals using social media as a way to network with others that they might not otherwise feel comfortable doing. For example, individuals with developmental disabilities might not necessarily have the capacity to be out and about with others, and so having the platform of social media allows them to be more included in their communities. And also, I think, individuals with chronic illness and such. So I think it's an important way for people to stay connected with each other.
JR and Nathan, how important is social media to you? You've got thousands of followers. What does it mean to you?
The followers are nice. It's more the engagement that matters, Like, a lot of the outside world will look at it through, like, the number of followers, but the biggest thing is engagement, and it's important because that's how a lot of my business comes. A lot of people will see my page, and that's how I'm able to book things, pick up some jobs, and get introduced to different people to work with. So it means a lot. It's really important because that's, the main source of getting customers.
Right, he took the words right out of my mouth. He got it down. I think that it literally is like my number one tool. It's helped me build a really strong fan base, and it's real people that you can connect with that don't have to be just in your local area. Like, I'm reaching out to Canada, to Spain, to Portugal, like all these different places, and then you got the United States as well. But it gives me a platform to be able to share my music and allow my music to go further than where it would go just me being a local artist with no social media at all.
Do you feel that you have to put on this positive attitude for your followers?
No, actually. I feel like, on the contrary, I feel like it gives me like, I want to be a real model instead of a role model. So I curse, I show the negatives, I show the down moments, I show me at my weakest moments, like moments when I've been depressed, moments when I've been super happy, my biggest accomplishments, but also my lowest pitfalls too, because I think it's important to not only, I think social media's problem is it gives people an illusion that everything is great, that everything is, you see the vacation, you don't see the fight that they had before they got on the plane, and the fight that they had when they got there. Like, you just see the picture of the sunset and, the beach and stuff. So I think that for me personally in my brand, I feel like it's important for me to show who I really am, and that means showing your ups and your downs.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, you said it well. That's like the biggest fight, I would say, with social media. I call it fake flexing. There's a lot of people out there that, quote unquote, with fake flex, find ways to just portray themselves as always being happy, always doing something, when, they'll be at home and they'll post a vacation picture, make it look like they're on vacation somewhere else when they're not. But like JR, I try to keep it as real as possible, because I feel like everybody else is portraying what you would expect. Yeah. The Bow Wow challenge, yeah.
Like, Bow Wow posted a picture of him on a jet, and he wasn't, like, he posted himself like he was going to go on a jet for his followers, and then somebody caught him on, like, in a charter plane, like on a Southwest or something, sitting in a coach. Like, so it's definitely like an illusion that people try to use. Yeah, fake flexing.
Yeah.
So do you ever find yourself pretending to be someone that you're not?
Nah, me personally not. Like, if I catch myself going in that way, I'm pretty good at just like saying, hey, it's the social media, keep it, like, my niche is being, real, being who I am. I feel like that's what separates me from the other people. So I try my best to not, do that. Try to not fake flex as much and just tell it exactly how it is.
I definitely feel the same. Amongst my peers, like other artists though, I see that they try to sell you something like a gimmick or like an idea of an artist, you know what I mean? So like a guy that's super, flamboyant or super fucking, super loud, you know what I'm saying? But I try to keep it as real as I can too. I think that it hits people in a more authentic way.
Now, Professor, what are the negative effects too much screen time can have on the young developing minds?
This is actually, an area of discussion and concern in our field, because more children are spending more and more time exposed to screen, to media and such. And one of the things we do know for sure is that during the first few years of life, this is when children, when their brains are developing at the most rapid pace. And what they need to have in order to develop optimally is to have interaction with responsive and nurturing adults who are there for them and interact with them in a real time, in a real face-to-face way. So when children are spending a lot of time on media, they're not spending that time with other adults and things. And so I think, some of the negative effects that we see is that it can affect children's sleep, especially if they are exposed to screen time shortly before they go to bed. It has also been associated with higher levels of obesity in children, especially in later childhood, when children spend, periods of time on the screen. There's also been an association, depending on what the content is of the media that they're viewing. If it's violent and such, it can increase behavior problems and things. On the other hand, if it is high quality, positive programming, that can also have a beneficial effect when it's used properly and with certain guidelines.
What does a child need when growing up to help them develop a healthy self-esteem?
They need to have a lot of positive interactions with the adults in their lives, the people who care most about them. They need that time. One of the things I see is parents using screen time as a way to keep their children entertained while they're doing something else. And I had a conversation with a colleague this morning about this, and she was sharing with me in her school that she sees young children, and these are toddlers, walking around, pushing little baby buggies with a phone, which is, telling us that this is something that is happening a lot in this child's life because this is what she's imitating and incorporating into her own play. And I have grandchildren, and I see how it's used with my grandchildren, and sometimes I'm a little concerned that it might be used too frequently.
Can I add something?
Of course.
I don't know if you guys have been aware of the new updates on the iPhone and I think like Instagram itself, where they'll actually let you know how long you've been on it.
Oh, sure.
And like that's interesting for your concern that you were saying, because the other day I went on my Instagram and I looked, it was like, you've been on this for like 4 hours. And it was like 6 o'clock in the morning,
I know.
already for the day. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I've had a similar experience, and I've actually started using it for myself to limit myself to an hour and a half a day of social media time. And when it's 11 o'clock in the afternoon or morning, and I've already used it, I'm like, what am I going to do the rest of the day?
Yeah.
But 1.5 hours, a lot of children are spending far greater than that amount of time. And you're right, parents should control it, and there are lots of different ways that parents can control it. In fact, the American Academy of Pediatrics has information for parents on how to develop family media plans. So how can parents, in a very strategic way, limit the amount of time that their children are exposed to social media? How can parents use it in a way that enhances and benefits children's development and their relationship with their child? So I think with anything that has the potential to be negative, there is the potential to be positive, and I really think it's all in how we use it. The argument that they should have no screen time or use it at all, I think that ship has long sailed. I think now what we have to do is find the ways to use it in the best way possible.
We spoke to wrestler and vlogger Sammy Guevara about his experience as a popular YouTuber. Here's what he has to say.
There'll be some days where, other stuff's going on behind the scenes. That's the whole problem with the really internet in general, with Instagram and everything. You only show the good stuff because no one really wants to see the bad stuff. But I get messages of people who get inspired from my videos. And so I understand these videos are not just solely about me. It's a bigger picture thing. So, if I go out there and I'm just in the worst mood, or, I'm recording myself just being super negative, that's going to have an effect on other people. And so that's what I see. And so I wouldn't call it fake energy or whatever, but I'm just, some stuff is not meant for the camera and some stuff is.
J.R. Nathan, do you think it's up to social media influencers to send the right message to their followers?
Man, that's a good question, because I personally got bullied by social media into voting. Everywhere I was going on social media, I kept saying, vote, 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 vote. And they got me to vote just because of I was seeing all the celebrities over here, saying to go vote. I was seeing all my friends saying they were going to vote. So, it did its job right there, but I don't know.
you say the question one more time?
Do you think it's up to social media influencers to send the right message to their followers?
I think it's more important for them to send a real message and not a fake message, because I think it's bad for kids to have like this cookie cutter image of how life should be. And you know, you see this guy and he says all the right things, he does all the right moves, he's with the most beautiful women, he's always happy. So if you're a little kid and you're looking up to that, the minute that person doesn't do that, or on the other side, the minute that kid goes through something negative, oh, I'm not living like Joey, the pop star on Instagram, and I'm a failure because I'm not like him. And you get that social comparison, as opposed to having something that's real that they can relate to and be like, oh, see, okay, he got heartbroken just the way I did, and so on and so forth, and other types of facets and ways. I think that it's more important to show something real as opposed to just positive or something like that.
I would say the confusion with a lot of people is knowing what's entertainment and what's real. Like a lot of people's social media influencers, they're really there just for entertainment.
That is very true.
And being in LA is a great thing, is if you get to meet these people, you'll know which ones are actually just entertaining and which ones are actually living the life that they portray. And you know, so it's hard to, I feel like the ones that are
Okay.
it wasn't Boon Gang?
Yeah.
But yeah. No, so
to his point, I think if you ask the question, why are people on like Instagram or Twitter or anything like that, it's for entertainment. Like, I go on and I get drunk, dizzy on just a bunch of crap. Like, it's something funny. DM it to my friends. They DM it to me. Funny. Or shocking, or, you know what I mean? It's not really like I go there to see somebody influential, per se. For me, personally.
Yeah.
Professor, why do you think that parents are allowing their children so much screen time?
I think there are a lot of reasons. I think some of it is similar to why parents have allowed children to watch a lot of television. Parents are busy. Parents have a lot of things to do. And it can be an effective babysitter, a way for parents to have their children do something while they need to be doing something else. Parents also use it as a tool to calm children. So when children are upset, it's a really easy tool to use to help regulate them. That is, until you try to take it away. And then you have a whole nother situation there. But I also think that, for example, my youngest son is of the millennial generation, and he has 2 young daughters. And he has grown up with media and computers and technology his entire life. He's not known a life without technology. So he feels that this is just a natural part of daily life. He doesn't see any harm in it. And so it's an extension of him, and so therefore it becomes an extension of his children. My older daughters have a slightly different perspective because they're much older than him. And so I see them using it in a different way.
Do you both ever find yourself being influenced by others with a large social media following?
Yeah, I got bullied into voting. They influenced me to vote. But influenced, and I say for me a lot of inspired, because like the pages that I really, really look at are like other people, my peers in photography or in art, and I get to see, because without social media, I would think I'm almost at the peak of I would think I'm better than I am, but being able to see the best all over the world at my craft, it helps influence me and inspire me to understand that there's a whole nother level that I can get to. So I would say yes.
And I say no. I think that I don't really find myself comparing myself to nobody, no matter how big they are. It might be because I got a little pop, or because I got my own thing, but I don't really find myself, as far as like inspirational purposes, it is cool to see people like in my same field doing dope things, but as far as like me being influenced, I don't really think it goes too far.
I also wanted to add that, in addition to parents using the media in a way that sort of passively entertains children, I also think that there are a lot of parents out there that believe that the use of technology enhances their children's learning. So they are also using it for the reason that they believe that this is the way of the future, and they want their children to be technologically savvy and competent, and so they believe that allowing them and giving them the time to use these devices, it actually is going to benefit them later on in the long run.
I think to add to what she's saying, I think it's hard to like pinpoint the pros and cons of social media because we're like the babies of it. We're the first generation to really have it in our hands and use it. So it's not like we have a second generation where they're looking back at the first generation of people using social media going, you see how messed up this kid came out? Like, you know what I'm saying? I think over time, I think we'll learn more about it and be able to see what's up.
Has criticism ever made you want to leave social media?
Nah, not me.
On the contrary, I feel like I agree with him. I say no. On the contrary, it was one of the most gratifying moments for me to get criticism. Because on social media, like as a regular person, just using it like every day, not as an artist, you know, you just have your friends on there. You don't have random people on there. Social media changes a little bit when you start reaching people you've never met before. So like for me personally, once some of my music started going viral and stuff like that, I started realizing that random people were coming out the wood. Again, I've never seen their face. They don't post anything on their profile. They got like 3 things on there, and it's like, I don't know, SpongeBob pictures. But they're saying the most negative things about you. It's called trolling. So like they're trolling really bad, and you don't like, what am I trying to say? They're criticizing you and whatever you do. But to me, it was like gratifying to know, okay, I'm making it, like I'm doing something good because I'm reaching people that I don't know, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I kind of laugh at it.
Now, does social media encourage the idealization of lives, the ideal version?
I think that that's a real risk, especially where young girls are concerned in terms of body image and how they should look and what they should be doing in their lives. My oldest, and I'm just going to use her for an example, is my oldest granddaughter is 16 years old, and social media is her life. And so, but she's also very influenced by what everybody else is doing. And whatever they're doing, she needs to be doing as well. And if she's not able to do it, that creates problems for her.
Yeah, I like to say something. It's interesting being a photographer, and especially with a lot of women, actually a lot of with fitness in general. It's interesting because everyone is following a fitness page. Some female model or male model that has like the perfect body that they're all trying to get to. And being a photographer, having shot those perfect bodies, is really interesting to see how much of those perfect bodies are not so perfect, that a lot of that work is the work that I gotta do. You know, you see this girl with this crazy curve, but you see the original. I sent an original girl that I shot, and the next thing I know, just hips just go bam, or out. You know, they fix everything they need to fix, and they post it, and I'll see a girl that I know, like my sister or something, saying, "Oh my God, you shot so and so. Like I'm trying to get my body just like hers." I'm like, it's not possible. She doesn't even have the body that you're trying to get to. You know, like she's trying to get that body she claims to have, and it's really, really interesting. I think it's social media is shifting reality and what's expected, you know.
Because of what we were talking about earlier, like there's not a filter of what's real and what's not real. You just get like this fantasy of what it is. Like there's pages of people that have blown up because they're a couple. They don't do music, they don't do anything else other than post couple pictures and couple videos together. And so people that are watching them and following them, especially like teens, oh, I want a girlfriend like that, I want a boyfriend like that. We can do cute stuff and dress up for Halloween and do X, Y, and Z, but they don't see them fighting, they don't see them what happens off camera. They only see the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why it's recommended that parents do monitor what their children are viewing, because young people don't have the capacity to be able to really filter out what's real and what's not real. When they see it in their minds, if it's there, it must be real and that must be truth. And so they need adults in their lives to help them be able to differentiate what is real and what's not. What I find interesting is up in Silicon Valley, the very people that have created social media don't allow their own children to use social media. They dramatically limit it because they understand some of the dangers that can come up if it's not monitored very carefully.
Why do you think people have become so addicted to social media?
I'd say entertainment.
Yeah.
I'd say entertainment. Like, I can just scroll and scroll. And it's not just, it's like everything. You can get fashion, pictures. If you're into your body, you have your fitness. If you want to laugh, you have comedy. If you want to know what's going on news-wise, you don't have to watch the news anymore. It'll pop up on TMZ's channel. It'll pop up on TMZ's page. Like, whatever you really want or need, it's there. Tutorials, like, I can go on for days. I think that entertainment-wise, like, it offers a lot of different facets as to what you can want.
Yeah, entertainment, I would say. And then also the people posting stuff are working and studying really hard to get you in there. Like, everything's just a trap to keep you in there. Everyone, all the influencers, all the businesses are just trying to figure out ways to keep you there longer than you need to be. And yeah, it's hard to just browse through a feed and not see something that takes you to another page, to another page.
That's so cool.
Next thing you know, you spent, you know, the whole hour that you were planning on not spending.
And Instagram specifically creates a feed, like your Explore page on Instagram is tailored to what you already like. So it's already put together different things that to keep you more sucked into the app. So it's interesting.
Also, what a lot of people don't understand is that social media is designed to be addictive. I had just read a story that was published in the New York Times where they were discussing the effects of social media. And the individual, their comment was they believe that evil itself resides in our smartphones. And what their further comment was that the algorithms and code that is written to develop these apps and social media are designed for the purpose of creating addiction. And when asked, is the addiction closer to that kind of addiction you might have with candy or crack cocaine, he said it's probably much closer to crack. And I found that really interesting that the actual, you know, computer engineers, that's what they're having to say about it.
That's crazy. I'm for sure addicted then. Are you? Did you consider yourself addicted?
Yeah, I'm thinking what's going on with my page right now. I posted something a while back.
That's fascinating to think about.
Well, that's all the time that we have. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Come on, let's go.
Just a minute, I gotta finish this.
Wait, you're gonna post those pictures of Mary?
Yep. She thinks she's so hot.
But her mom and dad will see them. Her grandmother, her little sister, everyone she knows, it's gonna kill her.
Who cares? Just a couple of pictures. It's no big deal.
No big deal? Don't. This has gotta stop.
Thank you for watching On Point. We appreciate our guests, J.R. Jones, Nathan Zielke, and Professor Busillo-Aguayo for coming in. You can follow us on social media at CSUN On Point. You can listen to us on KCSN 88.5 FM, Sunday mornings at 5:30. You can watch us on Santa Clarita Valley Television, Sundays at 5, and on LA 36 at 9:30 Thursday nights. For all of us here at On Point, I'm Natalia Vivino.